Hey friends, this is Pastor Joe from Southwest Lutheran Church in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I've got a discipleship recap for you today to follow up from Sunday, December 24th, which was Christmas Eve. Now, we had two services on Christmas Eve, and in the morning service, we talked about the family of John the Baptist. In the evening service, we talked about the family of Jesus as we heard the story of Jesus' birth. And, in December, we've been talking a lot about family. We've been talking about the Christian Family Month and just how our lives together as Christians are shaped by the families in which we live. And as we heard about Jesus' own family this past Sunday, I think one of the things we saw was that God has worked through even a particular family to save the world. Because, Jesus came to Mary and Joseph, and they raised him, and they prepared him for his ministry, his death, his resurrection and ascension. And even before Mary and Joseph, there's this long family line that goes all the way back to Abraham, all the way back to Genesis chapter 12, where God looks at Abraham and chooses him and says, hey, I'm going to make you a great nation. I'm going to work through you to save the world. And that's really how we see it happening in Genesis. The first part of Genesis is creation and then fall and all the terrible consequences of sin. Genesis chapter 12 is where God starts to put his plan into action to forgive sins, to save people, and to restore the world. And it's going to happen through this family. And so there's Abraham, there's Isaac, there's Jacob, and all the way down to Mary and Joseph and Jesus. Families are so important. And they're important not just because families are where we're cared for and how we, they're where we learn how to see the world and we learn how to live and we learn how to be adults and we learn how to be, we learn how to be kids for that matter too. Not just for that, but families are where we grow in faith. One of the things that we see so much is that parents who are engaged in church, parents who worship regularly, parents who are active in other activities for their church, their children grow up with much stronger lives of faith on the whole than parents who don't. If it's a priority in the family, faith will be a priority for the children in their own families when they grow up. And one of the things we mentioned on Sunday morning was, parents' hopes and dreams for their children. What is important to them? And I think this is true. As parents, we only get so much time with our children where we're kind of shaping them and forming them and we're raising them up as young people. Eventually, they become adults. They go out on their own and they make their own decisions. We've only got this limited amount of time. And so, to me, what I'm hearing from all of the stories we've had about family, what Jesus is saying is we should use the time we have with our children well. We want to raise them to know the Lord. We want to raise them to live lives of faith. We want to raise them also to do good, right? To show the love of Jesus in everything that they do. We've only got so much time we can do that in, so it's always an urgent priority to be attentive to our children's lives of faith. That's what I'm hearing from all these stories about family, is that God works through families to raise up young people in faith. And then what do we do with that is, I think it's pretty obvious. Parents, have a strong faith yourself, because it's your example that will set the example for your children. And it's your activity, your connection to the church that's going to, it's going to rub off on your children and help them stay connected as they grow through high school, through those years where they go away either to college or trade school or out into the workforce, and they're making their own decisions for the first time, and then as they get established with their own spouses, their own families, it's your example that's going to make a difference. So that's the encouragement, right? Stay connected to the church, both for your sake and for the sake of your children as well. Hey, that's what I get from all of these family stories, really all through December, but especially the story of Jesus' family on Christmas Eve, the story of John the Baptist family on Christmas Eve morning. I'd love to hear what you believe Jesus is saying to you through these passages and what you're going to do about it. So feel free to throw that in the comments below or questions as well. I'd love to have a conversation. Until next time, take care and God bless. Bye-bye.